Well, based on that, I mean, all the experience that you had, um, and the process that you went through from the from 8 years old all the way up until you were an adult, right? Is there something in that system that you would have changed? What do you think is something in that system that needs to be fixed or is fixable?
Yeah, I'd say leadership, you know, um, the mentorship given to the foster youth and the placement of foster youth. Like I said, my first placement, sometimes it's good to be back with family, but then that could also have a traumatic effect on a foster youth.
Yeah.
I spent time in a wealthy white couple's home, where they took me to Red Lobster for the first time. And I thought it was a delicacy, like I had never been. And then I went to Plato's Closet and I was into Jordans. There were 2 pairs of Jordans sitting on the shelf for $50 a pop. And
Nice.
at the time, I'm like, they told me I could get both. And I'm like, huh? No. Like I only grabbed one because that was new to me. Now I know $100, like, hey, I would have got it. I missed out. But
Some good finds at Plato's, man.
yeah, no kidding. So placement of foster youth and then the mentorship that's given to the foster youth. I think social workers, they go into their line of work with a pure heart. Like, I want to help. However, it is very draining work. And on top of that, the connectivity that social workers have with those in foster youth, if they haven't been through the foster care system and experienced that lived in experience, and they're getting all their knowledge from textbook,
yeah,
it creates a divide between the foster youth and the social worker, because it's like, you don't really know what I'm going through.
Absolutely.
You don't feel this pain. You don't understand.
You can't relate.
So sometimes, a lot of the time, actually, the social workers, they get drained because they're getting heavy caseloads. They're working with young kids who have experienced a lot of trauma. They aren't really ready to bear all of that all the time.
It's a lot. It can be very emotionally draining. Mm-hmm. To your point, I think, these social workers are, in many cases, just young adults themselves coming out of college and starting in their career, and to be faced with a lot of that trauma can take a toll.
We can't condense every child's situation into a textbook narrative. We cannot do that. So yeah, it's a field that is very difficult to be experienced in. So that's why people like you that have been through the system and have a lot of experience in it, being in it and working to better up the kids' lives that are in the system right now are very needed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would say, to touch on, Ben, you had mentioned a bit earlier, what will I change? And the connotation that surrounds those growing up in the foster care system.
Right.
I think there is a negative connotation with those growing up in the foster care system. And I want to change that narrative to something more positive, because I feel like growing up in the foster care system made me more independent. It made me more resilient. It taught me how to network and create relationships. I went to 8 different high schools. The amount of people I spoke to and met, I learned how to talk. I learned how to be myself eventually,
Absolutely.
And I think there's a Japanese art form that's called kintsugi.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Okay. Yeah. Kintsugi, it's a Japanese art form that repairs broken objects, often ceramic, pottery, or glass, with gold. So rather than hiding the broken pieces, what it does is it amplifies it. It beautifies it. It fixes it with gold. I think for those coming up in the foster care system, there's that narrative, the negative connotation. However, I see the beauty in it. I see unique individuals, resilient individuals, and I think the world just needs to see a little bit more of that. Just like Kintsugi, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.